Okay, everybody, this is my spoiler review of Sunny, episode 8. So, we left off on this crazy cliffhanger last week and had this man we saw from the beginning of the show who brought Susie Sunny is now Yuki, who is narrating at the top here, but his narration is actually what he's catching up Susie and Mixie on, everything they didn't know, as we are learning as well. I thought that was actually a really effective way to approach this storyline to kind of give us exposition and information we need to know through him, but in an interesting way we're actually seeing it. The first line's important because what he's basically saying is, how does someone know that they have the same definition of pain in the same way of you look inside this box, everyone sees a beetle, but are they all seeing the beetle the same? Can you ever really know for sure? It's a really fascinating concept. It's something I've thought about in my life before too, even with like smells and colors we see, anything like that, taste. So that's always interesting. But what we're seeing is the kid with the box is little Masa. So we're getting his backstory now. And you see this line Yuki says, he was only a boy when he realized how only he was in his own head. And his trauma is that his father wants nothing to do with him. And I like the artsy transition here of young Masa handing older Masa the flowers, and that transitioning to older Masa the day he's near his father's deathbed. And that's an important scene because his father at his deathbed doesn't even want him in the room. And while the narration is also explaining that, he's looking to be seen, purpose, this is what will cause someone to get really messed up psychologically. And that's why Masa's first day of isolation started during his father's wake. So it had been 2.5 years and he hadn't left his room, hadn't spoke. And Yuki reveals this is when he got the call from Noriko, who he hadn't spoken to in decades. So you can already start hinting at that this Yuki character is more important than he seems. And he says Noriko is desperate to even do this. But you'll see there's a great scene when Yuki goes to Masa for the first time and starts connecting with him through the video game he's playing, also connecting that they're both engineers and that he tells him he can stay in his cabin. It's like a workshop. But the big reveal in a very Darth Vader Luke Skywalker moment is, your name is Masa because mine is Hiro Masa. You are my son. And knowing that, you look at Yuki completely differently now. But what's interesting is they don't show you yet that it wasn't even Yuki who really abandoned him and caused all this pain. It was Noriko, we'll find out later on. But it's funny because while you're watching the episode, you're kind of mad at Yuki thinking he abandoned him the same way you feel Masa must be feeling. But he finds a Kit Kat in his father's files at the cabin. This will pay off later on when he has a memory of this box, and that was really his real father giving him a Kit Kat that day, and he didn't even know it. Now, it's also important, he'll find this magazine, and it has a trash bot on it. It's called Future Innovations, and it says to let women work outside the house. And he also finds pictures of Noriko and his father when they were younger. So this is a lot for him to take in right now. And this is also when what's going to change his life, the trash bot shows up. And he sees right away how faulty this bot is. He's just picking up basically anything that's trash from a list. And he says you were programmed by a moron. And it's the exact thing to motivate him. Like the narration says, he cared now about beating his dad. Now, I love a lot of the lines in this narration, but particularly my favorite was when Yuki says that Masa was circling around the problem he was trying to solve his whole life with this robot, his loneliness. And that's what's amazing about this part of the episode, is that it's showing you how this trash bot is getting him out of his loneliness. So it's working. And the big moment for Masa, it was cool to kind of see the techie part of it. I actually like that, where he shows the trash bot that he needs his charger like he needs his coffee. So this isn't trash, and that things change value over time. And what does it mean in that moment? So that's like the big thing they have to break through with the trash bot to make it better. And this is all going to lead to creating a home bot for Masa. And like I'd mentioned, that memory had with the kick out with his father, this was triggered by him seeing this beetle drawing outside, and he actually leaves the cabin finally, thank God, with the trash bot. It gets him to go outside, and the trash bot says, you frown at objects that are valuable to you because you value being sad. And then another great narrated line by Yuki is, his goal wasn't in teaching robots to discover their humanity. What excited him was realizing how they could help us discover ours, which is literally what just happened in the scene with the trash bot and what he said to him. So really, really great writing here in this episode. But when he's all happy and he's running with the trash bot back to the cabin, reality strikes again and he sees his mom and dad, and the trash bot attacks Yuki. And Masa says it was trying to dispose of trash. What else do you call a man who has an affair and then leaves his child? But this is where the truth is revealed. It was Noriko's idea. And I really like this too because Noriko is a character we've been with since the beginning. So it's more interesting to have her have a very gray backstory than have it be Yuki. Also, Masa connects the dots that this is why her husband hated him, because the husband knew he wasn't his. And then it's so interesting because then you think back at the episode and then look at Yuki differently now, and that no, he really was not all to blame here. So I thought that was really interesting and surprising reveal. Now, Noriko will run away while Masa's begging her to explain things and wants details. This is the perfect transition they do where it cuts to Susie now, like, why the F didn't he tell me? So you're seeing right there, they're showing you visually with the transition, mother like son. That's the genetic part of it. Now, Yuki will reveal to Mixie and Susie that Masa came to him a couple nights before he left on the plane, worried and not well, and he was frightened. He was looking for help. This is why he gave him Sunny to give to Susie, which I predicted in my last review, and he kept saying, you're the only one I can go to protect them. So this is when Susie connects he was running, probably from the Yakuza. Speaking of the Yakuza, Hime and Tetsu sliced that poor tech girl's fingers from last episode, and she tells them that Sunny attacked Mixie. So this is important because then Hime thinks everything's going to plan, that Sunny has completely flipped and they programmed her effectively, but it's not the case, because remember the cliffhanger also of last episode where Sunny was watching the thing that makes her drunk in a way, where it's the strobe lights, but it definitely triggered her back to original Sunny, who we definitely see when she comes out of the closet here. Now they also find another GPS point in blue, and they see that the blue was at her home and the airport because it goes back further. So that's where in her head she's thinking this could be Zen. And you see she's even says at one point, maybe this isn't the Yakuza, so this is probably Masa who put the trackers on all of these people important to him in his life originally, especially because of the timeline of events. Now, she'll find Zen, but Sunny has him. And then Tetsu grabs Susie. I love the misdirect of the extreme close-up here. It's probably my favorite cinematography of the season so far on Susie's eye, because you're thinking Sunny was attacking her at that moment. It added so much intensity to this scene. I thought it was great. But Sunny kills Tetsu, so we know it's our Sunny. The alarm goes, and then Sunny falls through the floor, and Zen's nowhere to be found. So that was really weird. Like, because especially the CGI wasn't great. I don't know if it was purposely supposed to look like something from a computer where the floor is falling, but I was so confused because I'm like, okay, did the floor really just open up? Was it digital? Where did Zen go? Was Zen even real? So very confusing cliffhanger, but interesting. I want to know what happened to Sunny. We love Sunny, right? So, and is she really there with Zen? Is Zen that close to her? And we still have 2 episodes left. So I think this is really, really good setup episode for the final 2 episodes here. And I thought this was one of the most interesting and most well-written episodes, especially all the stuff with Masa. I think it might feel a little slow at points, but everything there's a lot of meat to it, and it explains a lot. The episode is a full answer in its own way to lead to more answers, hopefully, in these next 2 episodes. But I thought this was a good payoff episode, even being set up, too. So I thought there was a nice blend to it and some of the best writing of the show so far. So I'm actually going to give this one an 8.7. Let me know what you thought of it down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment, try to respond as many as I can. Hit that sub button so you don't miss one of my reviews of Sunny. I'll also be doing From this season, so I can't wait for that. And I'll see you next time.